guys. I just did this. I just had a whole get ready with me and my sound was off completely. So hopefully you can hear me now. Hopefully you can hear me. Oh no, I have to sneeze. All right, I was here. I came live a little while ago. Let's see. I came live a little while ago and I didn't have any sound. There was no sound, so I did a whole get ready with me and no one was there. So, hopefully this time people will be able to hear me. What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite like childhood movie? Something that brings you like a lot of comfort. I'm gonna age myself here, but it's Father of the Bride. So yeah, I did this earlier. Thanks for being here. I did this earlier and I didn't have any sound, so I'm gonna do this again. Unfortunately, this time I'm kind of already ready, but I've got an audition that I'm going to be taping here soon. So I just wanted to get on and do a get ready with me while I get ready for an audition. You can see my doggy in the background. See, I feel like as an actor or aspiring actor, it's really good just to be able to talk to myself a little bit, fill in some blank space. All right, that's it. So yeah, get ready with me. I've got an audition that I have to tape very soon. And it's for the role of mom. I will be playing role of girl's mom. If I get this, if I get it, if I get the role, it would be role of girl's mom. And so we'll see, you know, I don't have an agent or anything. So this is just booked by myself. I submitted this 2 weeks ago and I got the call back yesterday. So yesterday I got the call back and they asked that I submit another self-tape. So that's what I'm going to be doing here very soon. I'm going to record another audition and send it in and hope that they like what they see. So welcome. Thank you for joining, everyone. I'm getting ready for an audition. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Can you just confirm that there's sound, because there was not sound earlier and well, that was a big error. It was coming out of my headphones and I had no idea. So yeah, I'm getting ready for an audition. I have a self-tape that I am going to be recording here soon. I started at my acting school about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and it's because I want to write and I want to direct films. But in the meantime, it's actually kind of fun to act and to submit to different jobs online. And you can do it without having an agent. So that's what this is right now. I've got an audition that I got a call back from. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Please share this if you know any other aspiring actors or people who are just interested in what it's like getting a call back. So I submitted this online 2 weeks ago, and it's to play the role of girl's mom. So I am a mom. I feel like that's very much, I could do that. So now I've just got some choices to make. They liked me. The director asked for me to do another self-tape. So I'm going to be recording that here very shortly. And yeah, fingers crossed that I get it. But it's really awesome. Like, you can, if you're just starting out in acting, yes, you can get an agent, and that will be the next step that I hope to do. But for right now, I'm submitting on my own. So just by submitting on my own, by the way, thank you so much for joining. My name is Carolyn. I do a bunch of things, but one of the things that I'm doing today is recording a self-tape for an audition that I got a call back for, playing girl's mom. So it would be, I don't have a whole lot of information, but I have to break my daughter's heart and tell her that we don't have money for what it is that she's looking for. And now I have to figure out, how do I want to do that? What are the strong choices that I could make for that? So it's just a lot of fun. And yeah, I've been at this film school it's a film and acting school in Philadelphia for the last almost 2 years now. And I love it so much, especially as a person who is autistic. I feel like I've scripted my entire life anyway, and observed and tried to figure out how other people behave. And so having a script and being able to go on stage and know what is expected of you and what the circumstances are, it's just so freeing and so liberating. I'm at a Meisner school. So it's, if you know, like method acting is just all about becoming the role and like immersing yourself. Meisner, it's about behaving authentically under imaginary circumstances. So I don't know, I feel like as a person also with trauma and who's dissociated a lot, like I used to dissociate a lot from my feelings, and this acting Meisner training really helps you to stay present in your body and to really be honest about what you're feeling and what you're observing and what you're seeing from other people. So I love it. I can't say enough good things about it. Meisner training, wonderful. I am about 2 years into the program. Thank you so much for joining, by the way. My name is Carolyn. I live in Philadelphia. I am Canadian. I got a call back for a role for an audition that I submitted to 2 weeks ago, and I'm gonna have to record a self-tape in a little while, so I'm just getting ready now. It's a role of girl's mom, and I am a mom, so I feel like I can absolutely do this. And that's something that's really exciting. As a human who is over the age of 40, there are roles that 20-year-olds cannot play. And so there are actually so many more opportunities for older humans than I think people would realize. There's one lady, one of my besties from my class is in her 70s. I mean, she's been auditioning, she's been in plays, she keeps getting these roles because she's one of the only people who can play the grandmother, the ailing whatever. So she gets so many opportunities. It's really exciting. She's been writing. So, you know, the idea that you have to stop existing just because you get slightly older is absolutely not true in this industry. So yeah, I'm at an acting school. I am in my 40s and I love it so much. I have stories to be able to bring to the screen and to the stage that other people don't necessarily have. Like there's a lot of life that happens, and being a woman, being neurodivergent, I'm an immigrant. I've had a lot of experiences, and so I really would like to bring a lot of that to not Hollywood necessarily. I don't really have any big dreams of Hollywood. Just more sharing the stories. That's really what I want. I work as an advocate for therapy abuse victims. I had a terrible experience of therapy abuse, which is actually why I am at the school right now. is because I wanted to do a TED Talk about therapy abuse, but I was very afraid that my trauma would make me pass out and lose consciousness and like faint, because I kind of have this like possum fight or flight freeze response to stress and to panic. So I thought, well, that's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to talk about therapy abuse while losing my train of thought on stage. So the next course of action had to be, well, I got to improve on public speaking. And so I found the acting school that I'm at now, because I have a lot of stories that I want to tell and a lot of experiences that I've gone through. And keeping that all to myself was honestly like keeping me sick and really harming my mental health. So they say secrets something in isolation. Secrets die in, I don't know, whatever it is. Secrecy was not good for me, and keeping everyone else protected was not good for me. And so now being at an acting school where I can share all of the stories that have happened to me and that I know of, it's just kind of like a full circle moment. So yeah, I'm at a Meisner school in Philadelphia. That might have been too much to say. I'm at an amazing school, and yeah, it's been, I'd say it's a class on yourself, actually. This acting school, it's not about like memorizing lines and trying to say it like just a certain way. It really is about being truthful and honest about how you feel in any given moment. Thank you guys so much for joining. Christy, Brian, Beth, so glad to have you here. I am getting ready. I've got a self-tape that I have to record very soon. I've got an audition that I was called back for. So I am hoping that that goes well. And I had filmed this Get Ready With Me before, and I had zero sound. So that was nice. But that's actually why I'm doing these also, is because there's just so many moving parts, right? And I could submit an audition or a self-tape and find out that there was no sound. So I just feel like I gotta stay on top of all of these things. All right, so I'm going to be auditioning for the role of girl's mom. It happens it's at a pit stop, I guess. And I have to tell my daughter that we don't have enough money for her birthday gifts. She wants something expensive, and I have to tell her that we cannot make that happen. So now my job is to figure out, what choices am I going to make here? Am I heartbroken that I can't make this happen for her? That I'm in a position where I can't pay for what my daughter wants? Am I annoyed with her because I've covered this many times and life is very difficult and she's getting on my nerves? So when you do a self-tape, you kind of have to decide, you have to make choices, and you have to make interesting choices, because otherwise you will sound just like everyone else who submits a tape and you won't stand out. So I'm gonna have to decide, what kind of a mom am I? And if I played me all the time, I would just be way too nice, and that's not a very interesting kind of person to watch. Although I could break down a lot. I could break down and cry. I'm good for those roles, I've realized. I am not good for villainous roles. I cannot be a bad guy. I would not be good at being a mean mom, or a mom who's not good to her children. I've had too much trauma and experience with that to ever want to go there. So there are some roles that I think I would avoid, and a role where I had to be mean to a child is definitely one of them. I would not be able to do that. But for now, let's see, some fun things I've done. I was in a Wawa commercial, I don't know if anyone is from Pennsylvania or knows of Wawa, but it's a pretty big deal here. And even my Canadian friends and family, I'm Canadian, but even they know what Wawa was, so they thought that was pretty neat. That I was in a Wawa commercial and I did a Hyundai commercial, but that was all before starting at my school, where I've actually learned now acting technique. And yeah, where's everyone from? I would love to know. I'm in Philadelphia. I am Canadian, but living in Philly, and I used to be in New York. I was in San Francisco. I'd say Philly is probably my favorite city of the I mean, San Francisco is pretty wonderful, but for my autism, I just found it to be very overwhelming and very overstimulating. So I decided to go to this acting school because I've got a lot of stories to tell. And I don't know if people are aware, but most of the stories that are out there, I feel like it all comes like from the same, I don't know, the same mold. Everything comes from like the same template. And so I'm very excited to be able to write films and to direct films that that aren't always covered. You know, being neurodivergent, being even just a woman, you know, there are different experiences, different things that we go through, especially now. I'm also an immigrant. I'm very lucky. I did get my American citizenship. I am so grateful. I love living here. I love this country. To be honest, Canada is just so flipping cold. I don't think I could ever go back there. I love Canada. I love the people. So I'll probably stay in Philadelphia. Let's see. So Meisner training, if you are at all curious about acting, there's a curriculum and it takes about 2 to 3 years to get through. So it's a acting and filmmaking conservatory that I am at. And it's such an amazing community of people, like hardworking, really ambitious. They say they're going to do something and they really do. I've been able to work on like 15 short films in the last 18 months. I do a lot of the lighting. So as a photographer, I have a lot of experience with lighting on set. And so at my filmmaking school, there weren't a ton of people who had the same experience that I did. And so I became very valuable. And so I worked on so many films, so many film sets, got a ton of experience, and I love it so much. Thank you guys so much for joining. I am getting ready. I'm going to do a self-tape soon. I got a call back yesterday. I submitted online on my own. This was a self-submission. This was not, I don't have an agent yet. I hope to get my reel, an acting reel, put together in the next like 30 days. I've got content. That's the other really great thing about the school that I'm at is because everyone keeps working on projects, as an actor, you can, you know, if you put the effort into it, not easily, but if you are self-motivated and self-directed, I was able to act in 3 or 4 different productions in the last 18 months. And so you take that content and you have someone who's really great at editing, you have them put together a 90-second like portfolio. So it's your acting reel, and you use your acting reel along with your headshot and your CV to go and shop for an agent. So that is my next step, is going to be trying to find an agent, probably in New York City, probably not in Philadelphia. But yeah, that'll be the next step. So right now, so this job that I was asked to send a self-tape into, I got that all on my own. That was on Actors Access. There's Actors Access, there's Backstage, casting networks, all great places you can self-submit to those acting websites. Some of them only require a headshot, so you can do it that way. Others will require your video demo or your reel. And if it's something that I am interested in, I will say something like, happy to submit a self-tape. And right now there's a chance they're going to say no, and they might not even get back to me because I don't have all of the materials. But I'm not submitting to too many things either, because I don't want to, I know first impressions mean a lot, so I don't really want to come in contact with some of the top casting directors until I'm ready, until I have all of my materials ready. But for right now, for Philadelphia submissions, I think you can absolutely do it on your own. And what else is there? Well, in Philadelphia, you can do background work with Hiri Loftus. Hiri Loftus is another really great casting agency in Philadelphia. They did like Hustler with Adam Sandler, or there's a bunch of HBO shows that they cast for in the area with like Mark Ruffalo. He was in Task. And actually that was really, well, maybe this was great. Please tap the screen if you're liking this. I'm only going to be on for a little bit longer. I've got to do a self-tape and I'm very excited for it, but I've got like a lot of nerves and thought I would kind of get them out. But I actually got a casting. Well, I was booked. I was hired for the Mark Ruffalo show for HBO last summer. And I was very excited. It was just going to be background acting, but I was very happy that I was going to be on set with Mark Ruffalo. And it was an HBO production, so just being on an HBO production felt like that would be really neat. The morning of my job, I felt really bad and like physically ill, and I took a test and I had COVID. And so I did the right thing. I did the responsible thing. And I did not report for work that day on set for an HBO show and as a background actor. And it was really painful, but I also feel like potentially I saved Mark Ruffalo and the entire crew from getting sick, because I could have, and like, I wonder how many people would have done the wrong thing and would have shown up on set sick and just not told anyone. So I'm hoping my integrity is going to be rewarded, because here's the interesting thing. A show like HBO, if you've been hired to do background for them, they won't have you do a speaking role for something like 18 to 24 months. Basically, they don't want you going from being a background person to now like a main speaking character. This is from what I understand. So had I done background for this show, for Task, this is for HBO's Task with Mark Ruffalo. Had I gone and done background for that show in July, then I wouldn't be eligible now to be able to do speaking roles. And I believe that they start filming again, and it's in my area. I believe they start filming again soon, and so maybe that was the universe's way of saying, Carolyn, don't miss this opportunity, or don't waste it on just being background, because we have bigger things for you. I could be delusional. There's a very good chance I'm delusional, but this is what I'm going with, that I saved Mark Ruffalo's life by not showing up to set with COVID and being selfish. So I don't know, hopefully that'll come back to me. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, acting when you're autistic acting in this method is really like the best. One of the things that I always worry about is forgetting words. Things will just become overwhelming and I will just kind of like deer in the headlights go blank. And so every time that I had to do like an oral presentation in class, I became very nervous and very anxious, which just made it all worse, because I would fear that I would forget what I had to say, and then I would end up forgetting what I had to say. And it was this terrible self-fulfilling prophecy. So now that I'm at this particular school, this acting school, which does Meisner training, Sanford Meisner believed in behaving authentically under, okay, no, see, this is where I can go blank again. If I try to remember words exactly, I'm like, oh shoot. And then I see every word in the entire dictionary, and I'm like, no, get away. I want to focus on, okay. Behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances. That is what acting is. So it is behaving as if you were under duress, as if your child was in danger, as if, and it's behaving. So it's not about faking it. It's not about saying the words in a certain way. It's about really understanding what you're saying, why it matters to you, and then behaving in a way that's truthful. So that's why some acting feels good when you watch it, and other acting, for me especially, I feel like secondhand embarrassment if I feel someone like being fake or pretending to do something. And so that's why I love the Meisner method so much, is because it's about really just behaving truthfully and honestly in the circumstances that you're given. What we also do is we make sure that we understand why we're doing what we're doing. And by doing that, so like if you get a script, there's a whole method of being able to break it down so that when you are on stage, you know moment to moment what is happening, why you're saying what you're saying. And so your ability to just lose track or just go blank, it's almost not possible. And I find that to be the most exciting thing about being at this acting school. In just 2 years, I now have so much confidence. I can go up on stage and speak, and as long as I feel prepared, and now I know how to prepare, I am able to relax. And darn it, I used to dissociate every single time, and that is such a huge deal for me. So I love it so much. I love this school. I don't even think the director of my school understands how amazing it is. Like, it is so therapeutic, and students are constantly saying that, like, wow, that was really eye-opening. I really learned a lot about myself. And yeah, the school is just phenomenal. I cannot say enough good things about it. It's still a little difficult to navigate as someone who is autistic and who has trauma, because not everyone is honest and truthful. And this is how I know I am autistic, or one of the ways, is that I continue to be surprised when people are self-serving. And my son had to say, Mom, you know the industry you're going into, right? Like, it's actors. They're literally like some of the fakest. And I have to keep remembering that, that the people that I'm surrounded by are literally great at faking things. And whereas I think some of the best actors that I've seen at my school absolutely don't fake it, and they really do go there. They really do let their hearts be broken. They allow rage to happen. They allow themselves to be sensitive to another person. That's the other thing. I've been called sensitive my entire life, like taking it's too much. This is the best place. My sensitivity thrives at an acting school. Like, I probably have an easier time at my school not being guarded, not having defenses up, because I am just so raw. I am like a little raw nerve. And for once, that's actually really, well, not for once, because I did have a career where I worked with children, and I was a photographer, and I worked with babies, and that was, obviously my sensitivity was really useful there too. But on stage, to be able, our school director always says, you want to be like a feather, in the wind. You want your emotions to be able to be like that. And so that's what on stage we're trying to do. You don't play it a certain way. You don't do it the way that you think is most interesting. You have an actual conversation with the person that you're working with. And as long as you both understand what's happening, you should be brought to life emotionally. So, which is kind of terrifying too, as a person who dissociated from trauma for so long. I didn't want to feel things. I could not come close to my emotions. And so whenever things would become overwhelming, I would just like watch from up here. And I was never really fully present in my body. And every class that we have, every student goes up on stage. So you have no choice but to reveal yourself and to be exposed for, it's like 15 to 20 minutes, 2 classes a week. So for 2 years now, I have been slowly desensitizing myself and my nervous system. And now I just feel like I've healed so much trauma. And yeah, it's so fascinating. And I hate the idea that the things that have happened to me are making me stronger, because they didn't. I made me stronger. I'm the one who has the courage to go to an acting school and decide that I want to tell these stories and that I want to share with other people. The trauma that I went through actually gave me really bad PTSD, really bad memory problems, brain fog. I was having seizures from it because it was so intense. My nervous system could not handle it, and my brain would have these non-epileptic seizures. And I filed a report against my doctor. This is a little heavier than what I wanted to talk about for before my audition, before the self-tape, but it's why I'm at my acting school, is because I went through all these insane situations, and the same situations that people always tell you, well, just move on, just like put it behind you now. You don't have to talk about that anymore. You don't need to worry about that. And that's actually what the state prosecutor said to me when my doctor surrendered his licenses and admitted to having abused me for years. The state prosecutor said, "No, Carolyn, you get to put this all behind you now." And I said, respectfully, like, in what world am I ever going to be able to put being abused and brainwashed by my doctor behind me? Like, it destroyed my marriage. It affected how I parented. It was a complete nightmare. And so, yeah, no friggin' way am I going to go through the process of filing a report against my doctor, all the nonsense that was involved with that. It was bananas. My doctor is likened to a Ted Bundy kind of a person. So like very charming on the outside, authors books on ethical boundaries in therapy, very much a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of a person. And, we'll see now, this is where the PTSD is kicking in, because I'll kind of go on a rant one way and then bloop. And then I don't remember exactly what I was talking about, but darn it if I didn't feel passionate about it at the time. Anyway, the abuse did not make me stronger. I made me stronger. I have a lot of stories to tell, and I am excited that I'm at an acting school where I can be creative with other humans, and and hopefully be able to share some stories. I've got outlines for like 4 different scripts. It's really a matter of what I think I can easily film. I did do a short film a couple months ago with a guy who love bombed me. So that's the thing. I'm autistic. My special interest is psychology, and specifically psychopathology. So the doctor that I had I realized, I went to him because I had experienced child abuse, and so I really did not understand abusive dynamics. But this book, I don't know if you can see it, it's called Psychopath Free. And when I reached out for help after I could no longer handle the abuse, and I was told to watch documentaries about Ted Bundy and to read that book, which is amazing. I am very passionate about warning and raising awareness, because it is literally everywhere. And once you recognize the patterns of it, and because I am autistic, pattern recognition is something that it's one of like my main traits. So I can see something happening way before other people do. And it ends up, it's very difficult to be able to try to explain to someone, especially if they've never been through it. So love bombing, you can love bomb someone in a romantic situation, you can love bomb them professionally. And so I had a person who did that, who love bombed me so that they could become closer to me professionally. And so I would share all of my stories with them. And we made a film and everything went so well. I was so proud of it. But then when it was time to decide who was getting credits, he wanted 50% of the writing credit, even though he had only given like 4 to 6%. And when I said no, he immediately said, "This is the thanks I get." And I thought, oh no. And I had realized that he had been acting really shifty. It's like people will first love bomb you and put you on a pedestal, but then they'll slowly start to devalue you. And that's when the discard happens. And once a person starts becoming confusing or they're inconsistent, that's when I realized like, oh shoot, this is one of them. Because a person who's acting in good faith, they just don't do that. Anyway, so I made a film. I put a bunch of my money into it, and unfortunately it's not going to ever be shown because we could not come to an understanding, and I refuse to bring a film that I created. I refuse to give him 50% of the writing. I already told him he could have director. He was getting 50%. He was the director. I was the writer. And that wasn't enough for him. So, and then he eventually felt bad and realized that I had proof that I had sent my script to other people before him. And so he could not strong arm me. And then he tried to take a different tactic. Anyway, I could absolutely get carried away in discussing the dynamics of psychopathy and coercive control. And so that's what all of my films I want to make are going to be about. Whether it's in friend groups, in mom groups. Did you know there's like coercive moms out there? I was in a single mom group. The amount of bananas behavior that went on in that group was just, I don't know. That's why I'm trying to create this safer, softer, more transparent community here, because I feel like the world's kind of just very scary and shady and just not authentic. Anyway, I am going to get off very soon. I'm going to do my audition. Let's see if I can remember the words. It's too expensive. Yeah, all right, I'm ready. I'm gonna do it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really hope that the sound was on this time. I really appreciate you guys listening, and you know, it's heavy stuff, so sometimes I question whether people really want to hear about it, and I really want to talk about it. So I hope that I will find the right people, because I felt alone for so long. And it was only the moment I started connecting and then I stopped isolating that healing really was able to happen, and I stopped blaming myself for everything. So thanks everyone for joining, and have a great day. Wish me luck, and I will let you know if I end up getting this one. Bye.